we'll do it here. Bit much. That should probably work for what we want, I think. Let's pull them back. Okay. I'm going to, usually I create a blueprint, but I don't want to do that until I've got them all laid out, so I'm just going to duplicate them again. I've done the wrong duplicate, I'm going to undo that. In fact, I think I may make a sub blueprint here, and then I'm going to do another blueprint at the end which will include all of them. I'm just going to do that so I don't accidentally deselect them. And blueprints, main ceiling squares, I'm just going to call it TMP for temp prefab. Yes, that's fine. Now we'll duplicate it. We'll do a rotation of 90 degrees. I think I need to now I was going to say I'll delete this one. What that's going to do is it's going to delete the original. So what I'm going to do is, because I need 5 this way and 5 this way, so I'm going to we'll place another one by hand. It's no big deal. Fix you. No, it is a big deal. Going to undo that. All right. I think they're a bit high as well. I had them up in my ceiling. I know what I can do. I'm going to duplicate the blueprint that we just created. We'll call this one temp 2. We'll open that up, and I'm going to remove one of them from here. Drag that in. Now we'll rotate it 90 degrees. Yeah, doing it as a separate mesh cano is a good way to go, simply because if you want to shoot the glass inside your level with a gun, say, and you want it to break, you're going to get proper break. more accurate looking breaking, physics breaking, if it's a separate mesh, which is generally why on all of my glass doors I always make sure the glass is a separate object. Like I said, it is going to increase the draw call. You're going to be adding a draw call by doing it as a separate object. But so long as you're not reusing that door 1,000 times in your level, it shouldn't cause too many issues. And it will give you the added advantage of being more accurately breakable in physics. If you want to do it, make it breakable. Even though I'm not going to be doing breakage in this cinematic, I still do it that way because that's the habit I've gotten into. And the other advantage you'll have by doing it that way is you can actually use a proper glass material as opposed to just translucency if you wanted to. In my level here, I actually use a physically accurate glass for the windows here. So it's actually a glass shader that simulates proper glass. I'm doing the same thing here for these light fittings. It's a glass shader itself, not just translucency, it's a glass shader. And I'm going to be doing the same thing in the main room here for the lights. So I've created these really large lights we're going to be putting up here, chandeliers. Initially, you guys saw the original chandelier if I jump back into Max, which I really hated. Sniper Echo will tell you how much I hated it. Most of the assets I really hated. This one here, now I decided I didn't like this chandelier and I wanted to redesign it, and I've redesigned it completely. You don't see it here. This is the old version. And this is okay for back when I made the UDK version, but I wanted a more ornate looking chandelier. So I've gone away from this look. We're going to be bringing that in when we get our paneling placed. I've created the asset and I brought it into the engine and we'll pull it in soon. The actual glass material is, let me open up the glass material here. Clean glass, let's look at that one. Is this shader here. It's a complex shader, a relatively complex shader, where you can change the refraction, the normals, the opacity on the fly. And that's the only reason it looks more complex than it needs to be. And allowing you to change the refraction on the fly allows you to simulate different types of things, not just glass, but I'm using it to simulate like crystal by changing the refractive value. So one shader allows me to make a lot of different looking types of glass, and that's the reason I'm using this. If you don't want to get into a complex shader like that though, you can certainly use translucency. And you'll notice I did use translucency on my door. Where are we? Down here. The side door panels are using translucency, not glass. So don't feel like you've got to use translucency. You can certainly get away with using, don't feel you've got to use glass. You can get away with translucency. But do it as a separate mesh. You're going to have less problems. You will increase the draw call by 1, but you know, like I said, unless you're using 1,000 of those doors in your level, you're not going to have a problem. All right, let's get this lined up. Because I'm keen to bring in my chandeliers. I want to see what they look like. Let's duplicate that again. Because not even I know what they're going to look like. Like I said, I've imported the mesh into the engine, set up the materials for it, but until I actually place it in the level, I'm not really going to know what it looks like properly. No, I think we need another 2. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we need another 2. And I think the rectangular piece went all the way to the wall. I'm just going to check that again in Max. Yeah, it went all the way to the wall. So let's make sure we fix our shader first, because we need to do parallax mapping on the rectangular piece as well. So let's duplicate that parallax material and we'll call it main room parallax 2. Did it? I hit the keyboard by mistake, so I'm not sure. Oh, there we go. Get rid of the 1 on the end of that one. Okay, let's open that up so it's ready to go. Jump back into our folder where we have our mesh and import the second set of texture maps. So we want the color map, the ambient occlusion, the height and the normal. Let's start by swapping out the color map, the ambient the normal map, and the ambient occlusion, as well as the height map. And it didn't do it because I had them all selected. I didn't notice. I was basically trying to place four different textures into one texture slot. And ambient occlusion. Let's save that. No problems, Kano. Yeah, try that first. I'm sorry, I just noticed your messages there. I get a bit caught up in what I'm doing. Oh, okay, yep, no, I did. Cool. Yeah, if you have any other problems, I'm back on again tomorrow. Ask me then, or I'm in chat when I do my replay Saturday, which is a podcast. I'm generally in chat at the beginning of that anyway. Up until, about 2 a.m. my time, if I'm working, which I am. Kenny says, so for the height, do you usually go for a bump offset or a parallax occlusion, or does it depend, is it different for different mesh? I'm trying to work out what you mean. So for height, for my height map, I'm assuming you mean, do I usually go for a bump offset or parallax occlusion? I usually use parallax occlusion if I'm using a height map. Bump offset or parallax occlusion. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking me. Yes, the height map. Oh, for my height map, well, I use null to create my height map, and I'm pumping that into a parallax occlusion mapping node in Unreal. So you saw me save out my height map from null, so because it actually creates a height map for you based on your based on the normal map. I think is the way that null is doing it. And that's what I use as my height map inside of my shader using the parallax occlusion mapping node that's built into Unreal. Yep. So my ambient occlusion is also pumped into my parallax UV, so, but it's basically the height map that, and the parallax occlusion map node that creates the parallax mapping. This is just to clean up the normal mapping here. All the rest of this that you see is just to make sure that the MIP mapping on my normal map doesn't get out of control before it's pumped into my normal. So we have our, did we bring in the other mesh? I don't think we did we? No. Let's import the rectangular piece for the ceiling. This one here. Yeah, you always complain. We'll open that up. And again, I'm just going to assign that new parallax map to this asset. This one here. I'm going to save that. I'm going to check that parallax mapping to make sure it's correct. That's correct. That's correct. Ambient occlusion, that's correct. And the height map, that's correct. No problems, Canu. It's great that you guys pop in and ask me questions. That's, like I said, that's why I'm on Twitch. It makes me think too, which is good. Instead of sitting here zombieing out. I think our parallax map is okay. Let's pull in that rectangular asset now. So this one. Again, we're going to have to do a rotation of 180 degrees because it's facing the wrong direction. And a rotation of 90 degrees. And we're going to have to scale it up to fit again. Now, I think the easiest way to do this is going to be for me to select one of my assets here and look at the scale value I've used instead of me trying to guess it. And then I'm going to apply that scale to this asset. And that gets us our piece to the correct size without fiddling around with it too much. Alright, okay, let's just get up here at an angle. I just want to check the parallax map to make sure it's not looking odd. No, I think it's alright. Again, we're not going to get true shadowing until we do a rebuild on the lighting, and I don't do that on stream. It takes about a half an hour. I do it after the stream. So when I come back on tomorrow, it'll be rebuilt. The lighting will be rebuilt, ready to go. Alright, now I'm just going to make sure that these are lining up correctly. Now, this is what I was saying to you before. If you go for this sort of idea of using paneling, duplicating your paneling around to save on your polys and that type of thing instead of exporting one mesh, you can run into problems if things don't line up correctly, and it can be difficult sometimes to get them to line up correctly. These aren't too bad, but we can improve this again, and I'm going to do that with that third piece that I created. So I'm going to import that little round bit, the join, I'm calling it, the ceiling join, which is this little thing here. If I open it up, and all it is basically is two spheres on top of each other. I do want to make sure I change out the texture though to the parallax texture we created prior, so I've already made it. I've just got to swap it out. It's this one here. And save that. You don't have to swap out the parallax map texture, but because we've already created it, we may as well. And let's pull that in now. So again, let's drag it in, bring it down, rotate it 180 degrees. That and the fact too that I don't want these half circles just finishing like that. I prefer to have more of a full circle there, even though that doesn't look odd, too odd. I think it would be better if we actually had a full circle. So I'm going to scale this up, probably to about there. Let's get up into a position where we can see it. Pull it up. And I'm just going to use these now to marry the pieces together better. And this is a similar thing we're going to be doing with the floor too, because we've got different floor section pieces between rooms. We're going to be using a grating between our doors to marry them together. We're going to do, this is a similar thing we're doing here with the ceiling. So we're getting the benefit of hiding any of these little problems where we're only getting a half sphere instead of a full one, as well as adding more detail to the ceiling. Okay, I'm going to select those three and duplicate them for the other side. We'll select these two and duplicate them for the ends. And I actually think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually add them throughout the whole ceiling. So I'm going to pull back until I can see it in its entirety. And we're going to select these. I'm sorry if you guys can hear my phone going off in the background. And we'll duplicate those again. And we'll duplicate them again. And I think that should be all we need to do then now for the ceiling. Alright, now let's work on our main chandeliers, because I really want to get them brought in before the day is out, because I'm keen to see them in the level, see how they look in the room. I'm just deselecting everything. I'm going to do a save all because I don't want to lose the work we've done, and I turn off autosave in all my programs. So once that's saved, we're going to jump into Substance Painter and export the light fitting decorative piece that I've created for the top. So let's open that up. I think it's the mold. Yep. Just waiting for Substance to create that shader. Now, this is just like a goldish plaster piece that goes on the ceiling that the light fitting actually attaches into. Just to give you some context as to what it is. I'm going to export this. Make sure we're in the right folder for our export. Models, Max, Deco Light Mold. Hey, Sick Nerd Baller, how are you? No, I don't, you don't need to do that anymore. Thank God. Sick Nerd Baller's asking me if I made secondary UVs for light maps. No, Unreal does that automatically now when you do an import on your mesh. You used to have to create a second UV channel for your light maps, but as of the last few builds, I'm not sure when they introduced it, but it does it automatically now. Let's export that. Now, as far as texture size goes, 2K, because it's way up on the ceiling, is probably a bit much. I'll knock it back to 1K, and if I find it's too low, I can re-export it again. Canu, for the baked lighting, I guess yes, or unless it's fully dynamic. Okay. You're still going to need second UVs, yeah, particularly for the baked lighting. But the engine generally does that when you import the model. I've not had a problem where initially when I started using the Unreal Engine, you used to have to bake out you used to have to lay out a second UV map for the light maps, but not anymore. Let's import that mesh we just exported. Deco Light Mold, that's the one we want. And let's import the textures we just exported. So we want the yeah, we're going to have to, it's not going to bring the textures in because that FBX export was from Max and it just had a plain texture assigned to it. So we want the color map, the metallic map, the ambient occlusion, and normal, and the roughness. I just want to find where it placed that material and check what it is using. Material 2. This one. Alright. So let's bring in the color map, the metallic map, the ambient occlusion, DirectX, and the roughness. Remove that plain color we've got going on there. It's the roughness, okay. Just going to swap these two around. I generally put the ambient occlusion at the base. So we want the color map, the metallic, the normal, and again you see I use separate textures here, but the better way to do it is the way that you saw Kano doing it, and it's, if you use the what do they call, the template for UE4, it'll save them all into one texture instead of separate textures like this. I'm less worried about it because I'm creating a cinematic and not doing a game. But you're certainly going to be using a lot more texture memory by doing separately than keeping them all in one texture on different channels. Let's save that. Alright, let's pull that asset in. Alright, now it looks like we've got a problem here with the, just going to delete that. When I did my original export, I don't think I did a reset on the export, which I'm going to have to do. Just so I can get my pivot position correct. Unreal. Whoa, it hated that. OBS hated that. No, I don't want to save that. I'm just going to load up the mold. Make sure that my axis is actually in the center of the object. It is, but I'm going to do a reset on the X-form as well. Collapse my stack. Resave that asset again. I'm just going to do that again because it looks like I may have used a different name. Deco light mold, Deco light mold. I want to override it so I can just do a re-import in Unreal. Now, what is going on here? Or is it just really small? Oh, it's just really tiny, okay. I was wondering where it was, but we just need to scale it up. Move it in and up. Looks like I may need to scale it back just a little bit. Yeah, no, that's correct. You've got to make sure that you got padding in your UV lighting map. Otherwise, when Unreal Engine does a light pass, it could bleed into the next UV island. Unreal will generally tell you if that happens, though. You'll get an error when you do a lighting build saying that your UVs are overlapping. If that's the case, then you may have to do it by hand in your 3D program. I generally find that most times Unreal can handle that on its own. There have been a few occasions where the UVs have been overlapping. In that case, you're going to have to do it by hand in your 3D program. Yeah, no, Sniper Echo says there's a minimum spacing that throws an error if the margin is too small. Yeah, no, that's right. If there's a problem with your UV, your second UV map for your light channel, light maps, when you do a build on the lighting, at the end of the build, you'll get a pop-up window or log that'll say that you've got overlapping UVs. But like I said, most times I've found that's not a problem. The ones that Unreal creates automatically, 9 times out of 10, I know I say that a lot, will be okay. But if they're not, then you may be better off doing a second UV channel by hand in your 3D program. But I'd certainly I'd prefer to let Unreal do it automatically first and see if it works and what the results are like. If you find that the results aren't good or it doesn't work, then do the UV map, the second UV map. In Max, the easiest way to do that is to do a flatten mapping. So if you're just creating a UV map, select your object, you throw down an unwrap UVW, and you just do a flatten mapping. I won't do it on this because this is quite a complex piece, but yeah, just do a flatten mapping. For your UVs, and that should get you good UVs, and you can control the padding, the margins in Unreal, in Max when you do your flatten mapping. Let's just duplicate this one more time. I really want to get these lights brought in before the stream finishes. I'm going to have to position these correctly once we get our light fittings in. My phone is going off again, hang on. Alright. Okay, let's bring the light fittings in now. Now that we have most of our ceiling pieces done, if I go into my light fittings folder, let's pull in one of these chandeliers. Move it up. Now I will be adding physics to this object, so it'll move slightly as well. I won't get to do that today simply because we're running out of time. We can tackle that a little bit later. You see, I've already created a blueprint for this asset, so I've attached lights to it already. We may have to play with the values of the lights once we do a lighting rebuild, if they're too strong or not strong enough. And again, I'm just going to pull this down a little bit so that our fitting actually fits in the middle of those decorative pieces we placed up here on the ceiling. Okay, let's duplicate it one more time because we want two of them above the stairwell. And now I just have to make sure that they're positioned correctly in the center of our stair. I'm going to go down towards the bottom and look up as well. That's not too bad. I think we're about the middle. Yep. Okay. We may leave it there for today, guys. We've done the ceiling. I'll do a rebuild on the lighting now after the stream, and when we come back tomorrow we will pick up where we left off and start finishing a few of the other bits and pieces in the room. Oh, you can. Oh, you can. You're completely right. Sniper Echo says you can change the light map resolution in UE4 after you import the mesh. Yeah. So if you open up your mesh, you can check your light map that way. You're quite welcome. Thank you guys very much for hanging out with me and for watching. I really do appreciate it, guys. So thank you very much. I will be back on again tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific in the US, 10 a.m. in Australia, 1 a.m. in the UK. I do post to my Twitter page at PhilDoes3D when I'm live, so if you see a post go up there, you know I'm live. If you're not sure, you can follow me, follow my Twitch page and get a notification that way, or just keep an eye on my Twitter page, but my schedule doesn't change. I always stream on a Monday, a Tuesday, and usually a Wednesday, but because of the studio and my workload, I can't do Wednesdays just at the moment. But I will be back on again tomorrow at 5 p.m. You're quite welcome, Canu. Thank you very much for popping into chat, saying hi. Thanks, Sniper Echo, for being here as well. Good luck. I hope you hear back soon, Sniper Echo. I know it's always nerve-wracking waiting. I'm sure you'll be fine. I actually like the, I saw the image you did of the rock in UE4 as well that you posted to Twitter, and it looked really cool. It's looking really nice. The sand texture, it looks great. So I'm sure you'll be fine. I will be back on again, like I said, tomorrow. Thank you very much, guys, for hanging out and for watching. I do appreciate it. You guys have a good night, and hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow. See you guys.